Hello. Since Mother's Day is right around the corner, some of you may be thinking about making something pretty for the special mom in your life. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to put a video together to show you how to make a Celtic knot design. So to start with, you can use blank grid paper, or in this case I'm using dot grid. And you're going to choose the size of the grid. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using a 3x4 as my base grid. For the initial part of the design, I highly recommend using pencil so that you can erase mistakes, because they are bound to happen, especially if you're just learning how to do this. So I'm starting with evenly spaced points arranged in an array of 3 rows and 4 columns. The next step is I'm going to find the center point between each set of 4 points. So think of it like the number 5 on a die. So that's going to result in 3 here and 3 here, like that. So it's a grid that's offset. Okay, the next step is to put a little circle around each of these dots. And the circles are going to end up being the spaces in the final design. You may wish to erase the dots afterwards. That's up to you. So just a little circle, and the smaller the circles are, the wider the ropes will be in your knot. If you're doing large circles, you have very skinny ropes, and you'll see what I mean by ropes in a moment here. Okay, next step in the process, I'm going to start 1 point below the top left corner, and I'm going to mark a line on a 45-degree angle, okay, right underneath that circle. Then I'm going to skip a space, and I'm going to draw a line that connects the next 2 points. Okay, the next row down, I'm going to go above the first 2 circles, skip a spot, like this, and then one more up here. So as I'm going through this, what I want you to notice is it's going to create alternating spaces. Okay, now I flip to the other side of this. Okay, always on the 45. So this pattern of going above and below and above and below and above, I'm going to repeat that again for the next row. So above, first 2 circles, then below, above, below. Continue again. And for this one, it's doing that. And this is just going to have a little line above. I can come back up to the top here actually and complete this first diagonal. And I'm going to add one more little slash here. Okay, so right now it should kind of look like a series of belts. Maybe you could imagine that on a conveyor belt system or something. Then I'm going to repeat this process, but coming from the top right. So I'm going to put a line here, and I stop. When I encounter one of those straight lines that I just drew, I stop. Okay, I'm not going to cross over and make a T shape. that acts as a hard boundary. Okay, already that's starting to look like something interesting. And you can see along this bottom edge here that I'm repeating that same process of a longer piece and then a shorter piece. Longer, shorter, longer, shorter. And I'm missing one right here. There we go. So there's the ribbons that I was talking about, or the ropes. You can see they kind of look like they're woven one above and one below the other. So the last part of the Celtic knot is connecting these open ends. So for this particular one, you can imagine that this one is wrapping around, right around that corner. And coming from here, from this corner, it's going to come around and connect right in here. I'm going to do the same thing to extend this guy out to my edge here, same as I did with this one. Coming from this point around that corner and connect. Same thing again. So I'm extending this little slice here around the corner and connect. And here as well. Just like that. All right, next step of this is I'm going to extend each of these pieces down. I'm going to loop it back as though it's going underneath the one I just drew. I'll do the same thing again here. So it looks like it's going underneath the one I just drew. This one is going to do the same thing. So I'm going to come from here, actually. Right here. It's going to come up and then underneath the corner one. And then this one comes up and underneath that second one. We're almost done. You can see where it's going now. The last piece of this particular Celtic knot is going to come out to the right hand side and just loop back. And on the left hand side it's doing the same thing. Just like that. So the interesting thing about Celtic knot designs is when you add color to them, sometimes they change a little bit, and what you see in them is surprising and beautiful. I'm just rounding that out a little bit so it's not so pointy. And that's where the suggestion to use pencil is helpful, because in this case, for example, I want it to look like it's an illusion that it's all connected in one go. So I'm going to, there. So So I made this point here line up with the next section there. But it does give that illusion of it all being connected. All right, so now I'm going to use some colors and you'll see what happens with this. Let's choose to start with a green here. And if I choose one of the ropes or one of the ribbons and start coloring that ribbon, anytime I hit a hard stop, I don't color that. I don't color over any lines. So this one is called an infinite knot, because as you can see here, as I'm going through and coloring it, following that ribbon around, I end up going all the way around the entire design and coming back to where I started. So it is an infinite loop. Depending on the size of the grid that you start with, you may not generate an infinite loop. It may end up that you've got multiple loops in your design. Okay, so there's that one. And you can add color to it as well to give, to exaggerate the shading. Right, anywhere there's an over, under. I like that blue better. All right, so you get the idea. Of course, you don't have to use color if you prefer to just use lines and make a beautiful design. That's great too. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to leave that as it is. And I'm also going to show you, if you did a design with a 3x6 starting grid, the design actually works out quite differently. You can see here, you end up with 3 interlocking infinite loops. So we've got the one in red, we've got one in orange here, and then the green infinity loop. I encourage you to make one of these. If you come up with a unique design, please share the image with our class teams and have fun with it.